This conference will now be recorded.
All right, so today is Monday, August 24th, and as always, everything that we're going to be talking about today is for educational purposes only, and nothing is intended as any type of investment advice. So obviously, number one thing we're looking at this morning is CGIX. It's so nice to come back to a trade like this. Just beautiful, beautiful buying. Now, unfortunately, once it started kind of going parabolic, there wasn't much that I could do here, just because at that point it would just be chasing. But once you got those ask prints that came in at that 7, we hit it twice. We ended up pulling back, and then those bid prints at 7. So we have to understand something. This is what I'm going to be talking about in our workshop. But as it was on its way down, what was that selling at 7? Was anyone, if you weren't watching, then obviously you didn't see, but what was that selling at 7? Was it somebody shorting, or was it somebody's stop? And that's the biggest thing. It was just those were stop prints. Okay, so it told us that we needed to come, basically we needed to pull up from them, and we ended up just getting a beautiful trigger that came right out of this little, not really a volume dip, but a little bit. You can see we started to go into that dip, and then just a beautiful bar that pushed us out, and this thing just kept running. Just an absolutely wonderful trade. And then once again, 10. We know 10's a big psychological level. It's going to be very hard to break. Now, I want to show you prints that I have here because it almost looks like it's dying out a little bit, but I don't really think so, because look at this. I love this position right here. Started at 990 all the way towards that 10 level. And then if we come back up, you can see there's been really not that much selling. So a trigger towards that upside still has a very high possibility of being able to break that 10 level. That position alone tells us that person needs to make money, and it should be somewhat quick. So when the market opens, just be careful of them kind of, bringing it down. And the kiss of death would be it would be way far down based off the way that we have our chart. It's not really set up for any type of kiss of death. So based off of all that information, once again, trigger towards that upside, I'm going to be looking for this to break 10 based off that position we have. Obviously, we want to still see buying coming in, just like we are right now, and especially some short-term buying coming in, because hitting at those levels, it's going to end up playing games. We want to see that short-term buying. But overall, like I said, we're going to be looking for that trigger up. GRWG. So I like this one a lot as well, and one of the reasons is obviously it's got a real big range, and that's something that I do like. There were shares available before, but this right here I really like. Look at this position. Based off of the print personality that we have, you can see it's very scattered, and you have a little bit of buying here and there, but over here, 1485, that is a lot in comparison to what we've been seeing. And then obviously coming up to that 15 level, 15 is a psychological level. It's going to sit around there. It's a hard level to be able to break, but it has all the buying that it needs for us to be able to push up. And based off that range, it's not crazy to even think of us going back up towards that print line. So really like what I see going on there. Obviously, it's still going to need buying, and definitely short-term buying, to show us that it's going to be able to push away from that 15 level. But overall, definitely some of the best prints that we have out there this morning. Now, the rest that I have is kind of, it's not reaching, but it's it's not as clear as what we've seen in the other one. So this right here, RKT, I know you guys were talking about it last week. I know it made obviously some really nice moves coming in, but if you look, this 28 level is just so completely mixed. So basically what that's telling us is that within this consolidation, it needs to break out of there. So I haven't seen anything that's really that definitive yet, because like I said, just very mixed. But overall, it has the ability to really get moving based off that buying. So it's kind of up in the air right now. We need to get away from there and get some type of controlling prints that aren't at such a mixed level, because you can see it's just gonna, the chances of really being able to take an entry around here are very, basically slim to none, just because of that. But once it really starts going, we get those controlling prints, we're gonna get a way better idea. But I do like what I see. I like the money that's coming into it, especially, from this morning, 1.2 million shares already. I know, it was just an IPO a few weeks ago. But overall, definitely has a lot of potential. Just need to see something better. ADMA. So ADMA, I like this because you can short it too. So overall, beautiful range. We popped up. You can see there's not really much there. We had some a huge print that came in here right around 8. But overall, there's just not really, once again, I don't see anything that really shows me anything definitive. It's got all the potential for us to be able to trade it. It just hasn't shown that, that it factor, that those controlling prints that say this is what's going to have to happen. So I like what the possibilities here are. I just haven't seen anything that tells me one way or the other. And then SRNE, I like this one a lot too. And there were shares available this morning. But if you look at it, it's just been in a beautiful trend. It's trading very smooth, even when the volume goes down to to basically nothing. But my biggest problem right now is this 9. I need to see something here to really once again give us, because all we have right now is the trend, and we can't just trade something because it's in a downtrend. All right, it did break that support level that we had here, sitting at basically 9.15, but overall need to see these controlling prints at 9. Whatever it shows at 9, that's where we're going to go with our trade. That's the person that we're going to end up having to follow, because there's just no one there to follow yet. So once again, it has the potential. It just hasn't given us that, that trade that we need yet. And now one thing I do want to talk about as well is plug. I saw those prints from the 14 level from the other day, and you can see it's going back into here. This is just something that I've been watching since underneath the 10 level. And I saw, you guys put in the high percentage plays, the beautiful, beautiful prints at 14 that shows it should have 15. So just something else I'm going to be looking at. Nothing really, going on here yet. All right, guys. Now, anything else out there that I missed? Anything else out there? All right, so that looks like it. So let's get ready for our morning. Remember, I know last week was probably pretty slow, and you guys say, some beautiful trades, but so. And guess what? This week is not going to be any different. This is basically the last week of summer. I know, obviously, it's not technically, but RKT. Did I not go over? Yeah, I already went over RKT, but. This is literally, in most people's eyes, kids are going to be starting going back to school in September. So this is probably going to be a very, very, very slow week. So just keep that in mind as you're going in your trades. Just make sure that you're looking for higher percentages coming into the morning, because you do not want to wait to the afternoon to really be able to make that money. So overall, just, want to keep that in mind. Let's get focused on our habit. I will talk to everyone in the chat, and happy trading.